be a quick video, okay? Because again, here on this channel, we are reimagining life at any age and at any stage. And one of the things that keep people from either reimagining life or just really, 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 really tapping into their true potential, their true power, is the fact that they actually think people care. People are so worried about other people's opinions, what it's going to look like, what is it going to sound like, who's going to support, who's going to show up for me, what are they going to say, what's the feedback going to be. In actuality, really, honestly, seriously, mm, nobody cares. Like, people are so consumed with their own lives, if you think about it, because we live in such an individualistic society that most people are so caught up with their own whatever they got going on, they're really too busy to form an opinion about what you've got going on. Does that make sense? So when we stop ourselves from really diving into a project or diving into a change or curating something that's going to make us happy or doing something authentically that we really feel good about, we're really feeding in. When we stop ourselves from doing that, we're really feeding into to the notion that other people really care whether you're doing it or not, and they don't. So think about it. um the phrase dance like David dance, that means dance like nobody's watching. Create like nobody's watching. Dive into your project like nobody's watching. Don't stop yourself from going to the next level because you think that someone's opinion about what you're doing is not necessarily a positive one, or it's not one that's going to feed into your ego self that's going to help you to keep going. In other words, you got to kill the ego man. You've got to kill the egoic man so that the creative man can rise to the top. If we're going to dance like David danced, that means that we've got to take the limits off of ourselves, first of all. And taking those limits off sometimes means releasing ourselves from what other people think about us, releasing ourselves from what other people may perceive us to be, or how they perceive our content or our delivery, or whatever it is. But most of the time, when people second guess themselves, when they stop themselves from, jumping into a new project, or when they stop themselves from a new beginning, or they, um, hinder themselves with self sabotage and self defeating thoughts, is usually stemming from what they think other people are going to say, or they're worried about how other people are going to receive them or how they're going to be received. And operating like that really makes you a prisoner to something that hadn't even happened yet. I mean, literally, think about it. Think about it. If you're not going to write the book because you don't think your friends or your family or the people that you're around or the people that you kick it with on Facebook or that you see on a daily basis, you don't think they're going to support, you're really feeding into something that hasn't even happened yet because you haven't written the book yet. You haven't even put the book out yet. You haven't even put the project out yet, but you're already putting obstacles there before you even get out of the gate. We have to get past that notion of being people pleasers, impressing other people, If we're really going to walk in our purpose, we have to understand that the only thing that we are supposed to be feeding into is that purpose plan. The only opinion that we're supposed to be worried about is what we're doing, is it pleasing to God? Is it pleasing in his eyesight? Are we doing the things that he has designated us to do while we are here? But because we get so caught up in what Sally Sue is going to say and what, you know, this one is going to say and what this one is going to do. And, we get so caught up in that we pretty much, we self-sabotage ourselves from making any kind of motion. We actually put ourselves in a position where we stay stuck. We stay stuck because we're worried about what somebody else is going to think or say, when really they don't care. Shout out to another creator, Veronica Edwards, and she was talking about the spotlight effect, which is actually a real thing. The spotlight effect is when we actually think the spotlight is on us when it's not. So if you think about it, if you can get past the fact that the spotlight is not on you and create and do and move like you're not even concerned about the spotlight, we will get so much more we would be so much happier. Actually, we would be so much happier because then we're not necessarily falling into that trap of still pleasing people, of still operating under this guise of, I've got to talk the way they want me to talk. I've got to present the way they want me to present. I've got to show up the way they want me to show up. I've got to say the things that they want me to say. I have to be the person that they want me to be. No, you're supposed to be the person that you're supposed to be. You're supposed to create the things that was put inside of you to create. You're supposed to do what you do to the best of your ability without being concerned on whether someone is going to care or not. Because that true, authentic place that you're creating from, that place of happiness and joy that you're creating, that excitement that you're creating from, that's what's going to bring you the success, whether it's the likes and the views and the subscribers or whatever it is that you're after. But when you tap into the joy of doing and not necessarily focused on who's watching the doing. And for those of you in the comments, let me know if this is something that you've been concerned about. If you've been concerned or consumed with whether or not people are watching and paying attention, and if that's hindering you. All right. If that's you, just say in the comments, hey, that is me, that was me, it's not me any longer. I'm not focusing on that. I know for a fact that nobody cares. I understand the spotlight effect. I'm rising above that. I'm going to dance like David danced. I'm going to create the things that were put in my belly to create. I'm going to make sure that I give the world the highest, best possible version of me that I possibly can. And the only way to do that is to do that from a true, authentic place, a place that you're creating from that has nothing to do. It has nothing to do with who's watching. It has nothing to do with who cares. It has everything to do with, what do you care about? What can you give to help elevate somebody else's life? What can you do to help bring joy and value to someone else's life? What can you do to make somebody else's life better? Right? And you're creating from that true, joyous, intentional space and not really concerned about who's watching, who's paying attention. You just know that you're creating something that's going to add value to someone else. And you're doing it in the truest, most authentic way. And you're having a blast doing it. And you're dancing like David danced, pretty much. Like nobody is watching. Because again, really, they don't care. And you should just live your true, authentic life. Live your purpose. Have your fun. Be that amazing person that you were designated to be. Because if other people's approval, acceptance, their check mark, if that's what's most important to you, you may never get started. You may never get started with reimagining your life. You may never get started with your personal reinvention. You may never get started with whatever that project is. You may never put that book out. You may never put that song out if everything that you're concerning yourself with has to do with other people and another person. Yes, you want to add value, but that's a given. It's a given that you want to add value. It's a given that you want to uplift other people. What you can't get caught up in is how they receive it, how they give you feedback, you know, whether or not you're their cup of tea. Because guess what? You're not going to be everybody's cup of tea. You're just not going to be everybody's cup of tea. And it's unrealistic to think so. So we have to put our minds in a totally different mindset state. And that mindset state is that we're just going to create. We're going to create from the most true, authentic space possible. We're going to have as much joy and love in doing it as possible. And yeah, we're going to dance like David danced. So shout out to all my creators out there. Stop holding yourself back by worrying about what people are going to say and what other people are going to think and what other people are going to do and how they're going to receive it. Just get started. Just get started. And to give you another quote, my mentor, one of my favorite sayings, you don't have to be great to get started, but you do have to get started in order to be great. So let's get started and let's stop focusing on what other people have to say and think about what we're doing. Okay? So thank you. Thank you guys so much for joining. Make sure you hit subscribe. So much content to bring you guys. And again, we are reimagining life at any age and at any stage. So this is going to be one amazing ride. So congratulations. Congratulations. Till the next video.